I was sleeping in Washington, D.C. I had just gotten in the night before from San Francisco. And I hear the doorbell ring and think, it's 5 something. I look up, I see it's 5. They must be the wrong apartment. No, it rings again, and then bang, 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 bang on the door. So I run to the door, and I'm very scared. I see this Capitol Police, and they said, we have to come in to talk to you. And I'm thinking, my children, my grandchildren. I never thought it would be Paul, because, I knew he wouldn't be out and about, shall we say. And so they came in at that time. We didn't even know where he was or what his condition was. We just knew there was an assault on him in our home.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Nancy Pelosi, who just so happened to do an interview the night before midterm elections about the Paul Pelosi attack, the attack that allegedly happened on her husband, in which the media is telling us that a Trump supporter broke into Paul Pelosi's house and attacked Paul Pelosi while he was sleeping. Again, there's more questions and answers in regards to what actually happened there. But Nancy Pelosi is doing this interview in which she, almost broke down in tears, as you guys saw at the beginning of this video, recalling, being informed about the incident. And during this interview, she, went on to basically make this political, okay? And using her husband as a way to score political points before the midterms in hopes of steering people's votes, right? Which, again, I don't think it's actually going to work. But yeah, she essentially connects this to January 6th, aka tries to blame Trump, and also attacks Elon Musk as well too for, quote, spreading disinformation. Take a look.
President Biden drew a line between what happened on January 6th and the attack on your husband. The president said, I quote, "The assailant entered the home asking, 'Where's Nancy? Where's Nancy?' Those were the very same words used by the mob when they stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th.
That's right.
Do you draw that same line?
Absolutely. There's no question. It's the same thing. And copycat or whatever it happens to be, inflamed by the same misrepresentation. But the fact is, right now, it's time for healing. We want the country to heal. This is not a path that we can continue on. And we want people to run for office, local, in every way. And you can't say to them, you're risking the safety of your families by going forward. There are no guarantees of safety.
If this can happen to someone in your family, it can happen to any member of Congress's family. How does no amount of security is going to stop that? How does this stop? And how does this not happen again?
Well, you would think that there would be some level of responsibility, but what you see what the reaction is on the other side to this, to make a joke of it, and really that is traumatizing too. But nonetheless, forgetting them, there has to be some healing process, and Democrats and Republicans. Member of Congress, anybody could be a target. And we can't, there's no guarantee, but we can. In our democracy, there is one party that is doubting the outcome of the election, feeding that flame, and mocking any violence that happens. That has to stop.
The former president of the United States, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, others have spread stories casting doubt on what happened, fomenting conspiracy theories. What do you have to say to them?
It's really sad for the country. It's really sad for the country that people of that high visibility would separate themselves from the facts and the truth in such a blatant way. It's really sad, and it is traumatizing to those affected by it. They don't care about that, obviously, but it's destructive to the unity that we want to have in our country. But I don't have anything to say to them. I mean, we have nothing. There would be no common ground to have any conversation with them.
Yeah, isn't it amazing, guys, that the timing of Paul Pelosi's attack, okay, comes at a time right before the midterms. Nancy Pelosi decides to do an interview that airs with Anderson Cooper literally the day before the midterms. And this is after they immediately politicized the attack. They immediately blamed Trump and Trump supporters for this attack when there's really no solid evidence that this has anything to do with Trump or Trump supporters. But yeah, they want to cry foul because people are coming up with their own conspiracies about what happened. And this is why, honestly, I can't really feel that bad about, people getting upset that, oh, you're making light of what happened to Paul Pelosi. It's like, no, if the dude got attacked, I feel bad for him, right? Obviously, that's a terrible thing to happen to him. But you made it worse by immediately blaming people who had nothing to do with that attack. You use Paul Pelosi getting attacked as a way to smear half of the country. Again, so when you do that, you open a door for people to now start to say, you know what? Maybe what the mainstream liberal media is saying that happened here didn't actually happen. You open the door for the so-called conspiracies. You open the door for the so-called jokes, right? You open the door for that because if you didn't immediately politicize it, none of this would be happening. If they did not come out here and blame Trump or Trump supporters, I would be like, listen, what happened to him is bad. And that's it, right? I wouldn't have anything to say. But I am incentivized to come up with my own conspiracy theories about what happened when the mainstream liberal media is pushing conspiracy theories that obviously seem to be grounded in a lie, which is why you're never going to hear about this story again. After this midterms, you won't hear about this story. They've already stopped talking about it, right? The mainstream liberal media has already stopped talking about it. They never stopped talking about January 6th. They still talk about January 6th. They say that the attack on Paul Pelosi is connected to January 6th. So, they shouldn't stop talking about Paul Pelosi, right? If it's as serious as January 6th. But again, the story is falling apart, mainly because we're seeing that the mainstream liberal media can't even get their narrative straight in regards to what actually happened. We really don't know. We have no clue. But they want us to believe that, oh, well, this guy was a Trump supporter, when they don't have any evidence to back that up. So yeah, if you're going to push conspiracies, then yeah, I'm going to push my own conspiracies, right? Two can play that game. And Nancy Pelosi sitting here talking about, this needs to stop and, such and such and such when it comes to political violence. Okay, I agree with you. It does need to stop. But Democrats are totally fine with political violence when it benefits them. They said nothing about the attempted stabbing on Lee Zeldin. In fact, a Lee Zeldin supporter who also happens to be a black woman basically almost got choked out by a Kathy Hochul supporter. Democrats said nothing. A North Carolina Republican that's running for Congress had his house shot, while his kids were there with their grandparents. Democrats said nothing. A Republican canvasser was canvassing for Marco Rubio. He got beat up because apparently Republicans aren't allowed in certain Miami neighborhoods. The Democrats said nothing. A Republican, a young man who was a Republican, got ran over by some lunatic because the lunatic thought that he might have been radicalized. Democrats said nothing. So every single time there's an act of political violence against Republicans, Democrats don't have anything to say. But then they want to boohoo, whine, and cry when something happens to them, and they want to blame half of the country for it. So again, if you really want to, fix this country, right, and move on past this, you need to start calling out political violence that's done against Republicans. But you never do because you don't care. And the mainstream liberal media doesn't care. They don't care. It's almost as if they want it to happen. But they want all the sympathy in the world when violence happens towards them, which again, I don't condone. I think it's wrong. But again, it is obvious that Democrats are not nearly as serious about political violence when it happens to Republicans as they are when it happens to Democrats. They want everybody to feel bad for them. It's like, no, I can't feel that bad for you considering how, again, when this stuff happens to Republicans, you don't seem to care. Just like they want to make a big deal about January 6th, right, and political violence, but they didn't give a damn about BLM, Antifa, the Roe v. Wade protesters who are responsible for a large majority of the political violence that we've seen in this country. I've never seen so much political violence in this country, and its majority of it is coming from the left. But these are the same people that want to lecture us about political violence. It's like, yeah, I agree with you. Political violence is an issue, but it's largely an issue from the left. You guys are majority responsible for it. So you can't sit here and lecture me on something that you guys condone and encourage when it favors what you want. So yeah, we got Nancy Pelosi here blaming Trump, attacking Elon Musk for pushing disinformation. It's so bad, blah, blah, blah. But mainstream media, Democrats push disinformation all day, right? They've been pushing disinformation about this attack since day one. So yeah, look, I can't feel but so bad for you, right? Because of the so-called conspiracies, because Democrats have no issues pushing their own conspiracies. It is what it is. It is what it is. And I guarantee you guys, again, this is the last time you're going to hear about this. You're not going to hear about this again because the actual facts of what happened is not going to fit the Democrat narrative. So they're going to make sure that you don't hear about it. It's going to be done. The Paul Pelosi story is going to be done. You won't hear about it again. This is Nancy Pelosi's last-ditch effort to try to make people feel bad about it and maybe try to swing some votes. I don't think it's going to work, though, Nancy. I don't think it's going to work. So, you know, hey, I'm not sure if those tears were real. It did not look like any tears actually came out of her eyes, okay? But she definitely tried her best to cry, right? I'm not saying they're fake, but I'm just saying, hey, to me, it seems like you really are only concerned about this issue when it happens to you and not anybody else. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.